you will enjoy it. My name is Laurence Petitpas, and as the chair of the organizing committee, I wish you all a very warm welcome to the 2021 edition of the Unique Student Symposium. So first, let me introduce what UNIQUE is. It stands for Unifying Neuroscience and Artificial Intelligence in Quebec. And it is research center at the crossroads of neuroscience and artificial intelligence, funded by the FRQNT. And UNIQUE has 5 key missions. First, we want to bring together leading neuroscience and AI researchers in a dedicated multi-institutional research initiative. Second, we want to unravel biological intelligence and boost machine intelligence through the joint exploration of their common principles. Third, we want to spearhead research in the neuro-AI discipline in Quebec and achieve international leadership. Fourth, UNIQUE wishes to train next-generation brain and data scientists and address Quebec's growing need for highly skilled personnel. And lastly, we want to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion in research and training within AI and neuroscience. So the 80 members composing UNIQUE come from leading academic research institutes that are inside and outside of Quebec, and they are spread over 4 main research axes that are perception and control, higher order cognition, networks, and learning. I will now say a few words in French. Nous reconnaissons que la langue officielle du Québec est le français et que UNIQUE est une organisation qui est bilingue. Par contre, dans le but de rendre l'événement le plus accessible possible à l'international, les événements d'aujourd'hui et de demain vont se dérouler en anglais. Au besoin, vous pouvez avoir accès à des sous-titres en anglais sur Chrome. Les détails vont être inscrits dans le chat sur comment faire pour y accéder. Puis suite aux présentations, si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les poser en français, puis on va faire de notre mieux pour les traduire en anglais. So we acknowledge that the official language of Quebec is French and that UNIQUE is a bilingual organization. In order to make the event as internationally accessible as possible, today's and tomorrow's event will be held in English. I will now let Alex take the floor to give you some details on today's event.
Thank you, Laurence. Welcome everyone from me as well, and from the rest of the team. Before we move on to explain a few details of what you are going to see today and some practical information, we would like to start with an important message and also mention some housekeeping rules. We, the organizers, wish to acknowledge that the lands and waters where most of us live and where our universities are located are the traditional and unceded territories of indigenous peoples. The Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk Nation called Tiohtià:ke, the site commonly known as Montreal, where many of us are right now. Since long before the arrival of European settlers, this territory has been and continues to be a gathering place for many indigenous peoples. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with indigenous and other peoples within our communities. These words I have just pronounced are a territorial or land acknowledgement, and it is a statement that reminds us of the history of the territory we are on, and it's an important piece of the process of decolonization. These days, especially with the recent discovery of the remains of 215 indigenous children in unmarked graves on the grounds of a former residential school in British Columbia last week, such an acknowledgement and support for the indigenous population becomes even more important. We deeply believe in the value of diversity and inclusion. In particular, we welcome and celebrate diversity of gender identity, preferences, physical appearance, nationality, place of origins, religious beliefs, cultural and ethnic background, socioeconomic status, age, and in general, any personal experiences in a broad sense. We are determined to do our best so that every person feels safe and included, and we kindly ask you to actively help us in this endeavor. Therefore, in order to create a symposium that is accessible, safe, and enjoyable for everybody, we would like to remind you that we all have agreed to our code of conduct, which is accessible on our website, and I will copy the links on the chat. It's in both French and English. And in this regard, behaviors or attitudes that go against this code of conduct, such as any kind of hate speech, will not be tolerated, and we will take the appropriate actions, of course. Regarding diversity, we would like to emphasize that USS is an interdisciplinary event, and therefore we are glad to have participants from many different backgrounds. That means that we are not on the same page on all topics, right? And rather than being bothered by this fact, we actually celebrate it and encourage mutual help and participation from all of you. Disagreeing and discussing is really welcome, super welcome, but discrimination for reason of level of education or scientific background, for example, will also not be accepted. So now I will share my screen to show you the schedule, if I can do that quickly. Right, I think you can see it. So today, we are now doing the opening remarks, and very briefly, we're going to move on to the first keynote talk of the day by Pim Hasselacher, who will talk about unifying AI and neuroscience. And later on, we have the lightning talks submitted by participants of the symposium. Then we will have like a break, including an active break by Kellen Taylor on Gathertown. We will tell you more details later. We continue with a keynote talk by Professor Megan Peters. And then we have a social break on Gathertown as well, a little bit longer. And we finish the day with a panel discussion about neuroscience, which we are all looking forward to. Tomorrow, by the way, all this takes place in Crowdcast or Gathertown for the social parts. Tomorrow, for those of you who will attend tomorrow as well, which we are encourage you to do that. It's a little bit different. We will have parallel sessions on Zoom, and also social breakouts on Gathertown, and we will tell you more about this tomorrow. But as you see, you have all this information on the website.
All right, so we highly encourage you to discuss in the chat and ask questions. And today for the two keynotes talk, we will take questions after the talk. If you are new to Crowdcast, note that the best way to ask a question is to use the feature Ask a Question on the bottom right side of the screen. There you can comment and upvote the questions of other participants too. And depending on the time, we may be able to invite some of you on screen as well to ask your questions directly. So if you feel comfortable doing so, just write it in your questions that you would like to ask your question in person. And finally, let us remind you that the event is live streamed on YouTube, and all talks of today will be recorded and available on the unique YouTube channel afterwards, as well as on Crowdcast. So now we will close the opening remarks session, and you will be automatically redirected to the next session. But in case you are not, you can just click on schedule at the top left corner and then on keynote 1. So see you in a few minutes.